Hello, I'm Matthew Wetstein, and I am a student at Southeastern University or SEU in a class called Preaching to PMIN 3233. And I just want to do something a little bit strange here. I'm going to honor my teacher and anybody else that needs to be refreshed by asking you right now to hit the pause button. Thank you for doing that, and I appreciate that. And I just want to welcome you back. And I'm just going to be your guide for this journey that we're about to take on. And it's going to require maybe a little bit of time travel. And don't worry, I've only lost probably one person, and it inspired the Jurassic Park movies. So look what happened. Now, this journey that I am about to take you on is a journey about the public prayer life. And prayer is central to us believers. And in my opinion, public prayer life is central to the church because it brings the church alive and meets the needs. It's the separation between a church and a great church. Now, when you hear public, though, you probably do think of public speaking. And I'll admit that public speaking kind of is bad. You might want to be more willing to be in the casket than give it. But I want to make this argument. I kind of believe that public prayer life is somewhere, maybe, at the start, it's a little more towards public speaking, but it gets more towards talking, like when you're talking with your friends. So I just want to show you what has influenced the public prayer life. And I think the very first important one was comes from the taking out of context Matthew 6:5-14. And Matthew 6:5-14 goes, "And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. This, then, is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For if you forgive men when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." Now, I just want to point out that it's not about talking about at all about not praying in public. It's actually telling you about motives. And this leads on to the second influence of the public prayer life. And that's thinking that you're somebody important, or kind of like being a show off. Now, Matthew 6:5 goes, "And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men." And that's definitely a picture of a show off. And he goes, and what's part of it is that he connects this also with this actually connects us with verse 2 when he's talking about giving to the needy. Because in 6:2 he goes, "So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full." Now, if you noticed, both in verse 2 and in verse 5. They say, Jesus says, they have received their reward in full. And he starts out this whole Matthew chapter 6 with the very thing that probably shows that it's been connected. He goes, be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. And actually, it's kind of cool because in the Bible, in my Bible, it goes acts of righteousness. And I'm sure it's just like that with you and you see these show offs. You just really think you have received your full reward in full because you are so full of yourself. Now, this is the part where it leads to our little bit of time travel. I'm going to take you on this little time. Go jump with me into this time machine, and we'll travel back to the past. And now we are, just use your imagination here. We are in a Jewish synagogue, and the Jewish leader calls up somebody to pray. And this is what they did in the Jewish synagogue. They'd actually ask him up to pray and actually be right in front of the ark. And if you've been in church for a while, it's kind of just a lot like, sometimes a teacher will ask you, or the leader is going to ask you, oh, Matt, would you like to pray? And you'd come up and pray. Now I'm going to take you on another journey to another group just a little bit off that time, around that time. Now we are with a group of Gentiles. These are the non-Jewish people. Now, when they prayed with lengthy prayers. They figured that if they prayed really long prayers, they'd be showing their appreciation to the God they served. So it'd kind of be like this. This is just a small example. It'd be like, I just pray to my God that I would get blessed with a monetary blessing so that I could provide for my family. And I just pray while I'm on the street corner that somebody would give me the food that I need to provide for my family. And I just pray that while I'm on the street corner, the tax collector won't come to me and ask for money so I could keep providing for my family. And I just pray that more business will come my way as I stand on the street corner so that I can bless my family. And that is kind of the way these Gentiles would pray. Now, I'm going to bring us back to the present where I will give us the next influence. And that is the fourth and most important influence of the public prayer life, and that is the private prayer life. Ed Cole is famous for saying, prayer in private results in boldness in public. I'll say it again. Prayer in private results in boldness in public. And I just want to point out that shows us that the motives behind the heart. It brings us all the way back to everything ties into the motives. Now, the radical part of doing what this says here is to go with the 6:6 version and go But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Yeah, you could go with the radical. I'm just going to stay in my room, only pray there. But I'm going to issue this challenge to you right now. You could either take that coward response, or you could go for the mighty warrior, I'll pray in public challenge. And if you're the coward and want to take the coward's part, then I give you permission right now to leave. You got my permission. Bye bye. Now, for those of you that stayed around, I admire you for your courage and bravery. And this passage gives us ideas about our prayer life. The first is that we should develop a prayer room. As I read to you earlier, Matthew 6:6, it tells us to go close the door and pray. The second is to not use thoughtless repetition. 6:7 goes, and when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Now, the cool part is then Jesus gave the model of public prayer. He starts out with the very first word being very impactful. It's the word our. And our means it's not just me or you or whatever. Prayer links us between the believers. Now, prayer can be used in private, but it's meant for community. And the next word is just as powerful because it is Father. We are his children as long as that we believe that he is our Father. And God and Jesus shows us many things throughout all this. He shows us that he is sovereign. He shows us that we should have a suitable reverence for him. And he recognizes that we have needs as well. He recognizes that we have need for nourishment, not just like physical nourishment, but spiritual nourishment as well. He shows that we have a daily reliance upon God. It's not just Sunday, not just Wednesday, not just Saturday, not just parts of the day, not Christmas, not Easter, but daily. It shows us also that we need to forgive others. And just not only to be forgive others, but to realize that we've been forgiven as well. And Jesus shows us that we will be tested and that we need a way to we need his help to escape. And 1 Corinthians 10:13, Paul mentions how reiterates this when he goes, no temptation has overtaken you except something common to mankind, and God is faithful, so he will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will provide the way of escape also, so that you will be able to endure. And he also finally points out that unforgiveness of others will lead to unforgiveness from God. So, how will this public prayer life look to the bold and mighty warriors that you are? Well, first, we need to make sure that we are praying in private. I mean, just start whatever. If you haven't, start, but just keep building up the habit to the goal that you want to go for. I mean, you can go as much as what Daniel did back in his day, which was pray 3 times a day. Now, I'd use that approach, and You don't have to just do morning, afternoon, evening, but just 3 different time segments. We need to also establish a prayer spot. Now, that may be difficult because, life happens, but I do know that for me personally, it's my room. I know a pastor who his prayer spot is on a mountain, but just establish that. The next one is that we need to get into community and find a public prayer group, whether it's at the church or if you can't even find one, start one and create one with your friends. And then finally continue to do so. Keep to doing it the best you can. I know life happens and you can't do it sometimes, but try to do it the best you can. Then you're going to find out that you'll see lives change in your friends, your family, your church. You'll see miracles happen. I've seen that in various groups that I've been in. And you will then also have boldness in public. I found that to be very true in my life. And that will make you into the spiritual mighty warriors that you are meant to be. Thank you.